Hi, good morning and good afternoon to everyone here with us today. Welcome to today's webinar on proactively minimizing revenue leakage by optimizing your Oracle service contracts. My name is Bijal Shah, Marketing and Trade Show Executive here at Jade Global. We'd like to introduce Girish Bakshi. He is a lead consultant here at Jade Global, and I've listed his contact details here for you. And again, I'm Bijal Shah, Marketing and Trade Show Executive here at Jade Global, and also your moderator for today's webinar. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Girish now, who will review the agenda and go ahead and continue on with the presentation. Thank you, Girish.
So let me start by today's agenda. So I'd like to talk about business issues and key challenges, and then I'll also walk you through the automatic renewal process using which you can minimize your revenue leakage and also increase your service renewals revenue. Then I'll talk about some features that are available in the service contracts module that can be utilized effectively and efficiently to improve the revenues. Also, I'll talk about the online acceptance portal wherein you can improve the customer satisfaction and also the customer interactions. In the finally, I'd like to show you some Jade Global solution schematic diagram that talks about integrating multiple systems and how you can best leverage the Oracle Service Contract solution to get the best advantages of the processes. Okay, now let us move on to the business issues or the key challenges. Now we have got the industry background, and also we have discovered like the pain points in the current processes for the customers. Now let us look at the business challenges at a high level. First one and the foremost one is the forecasting and the reporting. So forecasting of service renewals has always been a pain point or a challenge to the senior management. Reason being, not having an insight of what is in the pipeline and what needs to be reported as the forecasted revenue has always caused sleepless nights to the renewals managers. The second pain point is the code generation and maintenance. Companies typically access 2 to 3 different systems to prepare a single renewal quote. This has been a problem to the renewal teams when the time comes for the renewals. The next one is the consolidation and co-termination. Essentially, customers asking for consolidation and co-termination of contracts at the time of renewals, and if the systems are not connected or if the systems are not integrated very well to address this requirement, then renewal reps would end up sending inaccurate and inefficient quotes. The next one is the RMA swap. So when customers return goods with a return material authorization, services covering those goods are automatically terminating service contracts. If the customers have a separate system which is not integrated with Oracle service contracts, then if the RMA is been made on that asset, then the quoting process would become inefficient, as it would also include the terminated asset. Adding to this, finally, if the business is performed through the distribution channel, then the partner collaboration is an important aspect wherein all the required data for the renewals should be made available to the customers, to the partners in advance for enabling communication with the end users. Now let us look at the automated renewal process. In standard Oracle service contracts, Oracle provides 3 different types of processes that can be leveraged to take the advantage of revenue leakage. Essentially, Oracle service contracts looks at 2 different variables. One is the contracts that are near expiration and the renewal rules that needs to be applied to renew the contract. So customers can take the advantage of these 3 different renewal processes. The first one is the evergreen process, the second one is the online process, the third one is the manual process. So let me just give you some brief about these processes and how those can be used to suit different business requirements. In the evergreen process, there are 2 variations. Customers would go for an approval process with evergreen renewal process, or customers can choose to implement the evergreen renewal process without any approval mechanism. So essentially, in these cases, the end result is an automated contract is created for renewal, and depending on the approval mechanism, it will be sent to the approver. The second process is the online process. Online process has 3 different variations to suit the business requirements. One can be an automatic process, the second one is the manual process, and the third one is an approval not required process. Essentially, the online process covers the online acceptance portal where customer can log into the self-service web page where he can see his contract, renewed contract, and he can proceed with his payments and all that stuff. The third one is the manual process, and it has two flavors, one with approval and the second one is without approval. So again, it's more of a manual process where sales reps interaction is required throughout the negotiation cycle of the contract. Again, depending on the business requirements, customers can choose to implement any one of these renewal processes, or they can use a combination of the renewal processes. Now let us look at the forecasting and reporting of the renewal opportunities. Customers unaware of upcoming renewals often fail to budget the funds accurately, and by the time they realize, they will have to jump through the budgeting hoops to accommodate the renewals. One more problem is, after operating for a while without the service contract, customers may begin to view the service offering as very less valuable. Because of increased competition, it is no longer safe to assume that the customers will automatically renew the contracts based on the previous offerings. So the answer is proactive renewal management by notifying customers in advance. Organizations must reach out to customers in advance of 90 days, 90 to 120 days. Again, depending on the business requirements, they can change this parameter. So the other point would be customers should be provided with multiple options for renewals by providing renewal quotes. Oracle Service Contract has some seeded documents that are available and that can be used to for customer communication, and also some custom documents can be created as well. So once the renewal completes the negotiation cycle, then the customer decides to renew and looks for the payment options. If you look at the schematic diagram, it has two portions. The upper portion, which talks about creating the opportunities in the CRM system, and the bottom picture that shows about the generic life cycle of a renewal process. If you look at the first block, it identifies what the potential renewal opportunities are and knocking the customer for those opportunities, preparation of the documents, the third point. The fourth one is then the negotiation starts with the customer once you send the renewal communication documents to the customer, and once the customer is satisfied with the negotiation process, then he looks for the payment, and once the payment is being made, then a final entitlement document is created and sent to the customer. In the upper portion of the diagram, you see that we are creating renewal opportunities in the CRM system 90 days in advance of the expiry of the base contract. If you look at the second box, it talks about these opportunities used in the forecasting. And funnily, once the contract becomes active, then closing up those renewal opportunities. So this is at a very high level how the forecasting and the reporting requirement of renewal opportunities can be addressed. Now let us look at the other feature that is available to get the advantage of the automation. The Contracts Admin Workbench. Contracts Admin Workbench is a one-stop shop for sales representatives, which are nothing but the renewal representatives, the renewals managers, the contract administrators, and others who are directly involved with the negotiation process. So it's also used to track the progress and the follow-up actions. It's just like a single-stop shop for all your contract-related activities. When you say contract-related activities, it starts beginning the authoring of a contract, negotiation, payment, and closure. So some of the activities that I have listed are using the Workbench. What you can do is you can publish the contract to the customers. You can submit it for approvals. If you are following an internal approval process, then you can submit it for internal approval. You can enable, disable reminders, and also you can run QA checks. One of the key features that I'd like to focus today is on publishing the quotes online. So from the navigator page, what you can do is you can publish your renewed contracts which are in the entered status to the customers. So customer can review those renewal quotes in the online acceptance portal, and they can continue with their actions. They can ask questions on that contract. They can find add, update, or request for any changes to the contract, and also they can look out for the payment options. So if you look at the next feature, that is online acceptance portal. So essentially this online acceptance portal is used for renewal contracts that are under negotiation, and also the newly authored contract can be viewed in the online acceptance portal. There are certain organizations where the volume of the contract is very high in terms of number of contracts, where the contract value is very low but the volume is very high. So in such cases, customers can take the advantage of automating the process using this online acceptance portal. So when customer logs into the online acceptance portal, he can check his contract in the self-service web page, where he can see the contract related details, the start date, end date, and the quote information. So when he clicks on the quote, he can see the quote document in the PDF version. Customers can also view the quote. They can accept, reject, request for any changes, all that stuff related to the contract negotiation from this single web page. Now let me walk you through Jade's schematic solution diagram that we have for you, looking at all the systems and the systems that are involved. So if you look at the diagram that we have on the screen, it has essentially 4 different systems. So we have designed the system that can suit for customers who have all the systems and also who do not have all of the systems together. Okay, so this particular schematic diagram, the solution works for both the types of customers who have these systems and who do not also have these systems. Now let us take the worst example, or the worst case of the example, where a customer has a wide footprint of all the systems. Like we have a different portal for RMA, we have a different system for CRM, we have a different application for reporting purposes, which is OBI and all that stuff. And at the core, or the hub of all the systems, we have the Oracle e-business suite that has Oracle service contract installed on it. This solution is more about integrating all these different systems with the Oracle service contracts, being the service contract as the center of the hub for the data. So we can take the full advantage of Oracle service contracts, because Oracle service contract has all the features related to the renewal quote update, consolidations, credit check process, billing, email, and auto renewal, and so on. So when we talk about the integration with other systems, there may be some customers who will be using CRM systems to talk to the partners and to the customers, right? So in that case, what we can do is, as I have displayed in my previous slide, we can create opportunities in the CRM system, and those can be used to track the forecasting and reporting purposes as well as the renewals purposes. Also, since the reporting is based out of the Oracle BI, then what we can do is we can directly integrate the service contract data to the BI applications. We don't need to have a separate system or a different module or a system or a footprint for reporting purposes. What we can do is we can just connect the BI applications with the contracts, and we can get the data feed from the contract system. So if you look at the schematic diagram, it is tightly integrated, meaning if an RMA takes place on a particular contract, then those particular lines will be terminated from service contracts. So since service contracts is the hub of the solution here, what it does is it takes out the asset from that contract at the time of renewal. So customer would always get the accurate and efficient quote than having a disparate system. So let us now discuss about the solution benefits based out of this discussion. The first and the foremost benefit is the increased revenue. Now you can ask me how this solution can benefit you. As I was discussing about the automation of the renewals, so the automation process seals all the leakages, meaning it finds out what are the contracts that are eligible for the renewal before the date range that is set in the system, and it automatically renews and sends the customer communications. So customer doesn't need to worry about when to contact the customer, or when to contact the vendor, or when to contact when to get the documents, and so on. So, and also if there is a high volume of low value contracts and so on, then which can be automated to renew those contracts automatically, and the revenue can be recognized very easily using those evergreen processes or online processes, or to a certain extent manual processes. The second one is the increased customer satisfaction. Customer would like to do more work in the less time, right? So by enabling the online acceptance portal functionality to the customers, you are giving them the flexibility, you are giving them the choice where they can add, they can comment, they can request for more information. Today, if you look at the business, how it is done, majority of the communication is done through the email notifications, right? So which can be totally taken out. If the renewal rep for some instance is out of office or not available to respond to the client, then there could be delay in completing the negotiation process. So using the online acceptance portal, all these issues will be taken out. The next solution benefit is the single source of truth for renewals. So if you look at this solution schematic diagram, it has the service contracts as the hub, which has the peripheral systems as the RMA portal, the CRM system, and the reporting portal. So service contracts data is always updated based on the RMAs, install base, or any other data activities. So you always get the accurate and efficient information from the contracts. Had there been a case where the systems are not connected, peripheral systems are not connected, or they don't have the data flow from to and fro, then whenever you send the renewal quotes, they would be inaccurate. So the next biggest benefit is in line with the longer term vision of single quoting systems. As I have mentioned in the previous slides, customers typically use 2 or 3 different systems to generate a single renewal quote. So this has always been a pain point, essentially when the quarter closure or near the quarter, at the end of the quarter, where renewals are supposed to meet their targets. So if you have only one system, if you look at the schematic diagram, we have only one system, that's the hub, and that does all these activities of including the printing of renewal quotes and sending them to the customers over the online acceptance portal. The next biggest advantage is from a sales perspective, it's only one application for sales forecast report. In today's world, customers typically use different applications for sales and reporting and all that stuff. So in which case what happens is data needs to be sent from one system to the other and across to keep the data in sync. So using this solution, we have only one application that is used for sales forecasting.